Judicial Indiscretions. This opinion examines how pervasive judicial inconsistency undermines public trust and legal justice in Pakistan. Much has been said about the backlog of 2.4 million cases in the judicial system. Backlog means an accumulation of pending cases. This opening sentence introduces the subject by highlighting the enormous case backlog in Pakistan's courts. At the Sulema Jahangir conference in 2024, Justice Mansoor Ali Shah stated that in 2023, judges had decided 1.69 M cases. Decided in this context means resolved or disposed of. This sentence means that in 2023, despite the huge backlog, courts disposed of 1.69 million cases. There is no doubt that disposing 1.69 M cases is remarkable for about 4,000 judges working daily, but how many of those 1.69 M decisions resolved anything? Disposing means concluding or settling a legal case. This sentence questions whether the large volume of case disposals truly achieved justice or merely added to judicial inconsistency. Judicial inconsistency has hit every area of law, which is why people file so many suits, countersuits, and appeals in the first place. Judicial inconsistency means unpredictable or varying court decisions. Suits means legal actions or lawsuits. Countersuits means lawsuits filed in response to initial suits. Appeals means requests to a higher court to review a decision. This sentence means that erratic and unpredictable decisions compel litigants to keep challenging verdicts. Take the example of capital punishments. 78% of those convicted to be hanged are acquitted, their sentences commuted, or petitions reviewed on appeal. Capital punishments refers to the death penalty. Convicted means found guilty in court. Acquitted means cleared of charges. Commuted means reduced to a lesser penalty. Petitions means formal requests to a court. This sentence means that a high percentage of death penalty convictions are overturned or lessened on appeal, illustrating judicial inconsistency. At the very least, appeals in cases accounting for the most serious punishment in our penal code should be few and far between. Penal code means the body of laws defining crimes and punishments. Few and far between is an idiomatic expression meaning very infrequent. This sentence suggests that appeals in capital cases should be rare if the judicial system were consistent. In family law, judicial inconsistency is so rampant that a woman cannot even be certain about her status. Family law means laws governing marriage, divorce, and custody. Rampant means widespread and uncontrolled. Status means legal standing, such as married or divorced. This sentence means that in matters of family law, unpredictable rulings leave women unsure of their legal standing. When I am asked whether a couple is divorced or not, I cannot give them a certain answer. This sentence means that due to inconsistent decisions, even basic legal facts like divorce status remain ambiguous. It is impossible to assess what child maintenance a woman can expect to receive or whether she will be able to recover her dowry items or her mere. Child maintenance means financial support for children after divorce. Dowry items means property or goods a bride brings to marriage. Mehr is a term referring to a mandatory payment made by a husband to his wife in Muslim marriage contracts. This sentence means that unpredictable rulings make it difficult for women to know their entitlements in divorce cases. It all depends on the judge of the day and the mood of that particular judge. Judge of the day is an idiomatic expression meaning the judge handling the case at that time. This sentence means that outcomes vary wildly based on individual judicial discretion. In cases where a husband gives his wife a talaq, Supreme Court precedents state notice of the talaq must be given to the union counsel and the wife. Talaq is a term for divorce pronounced by a husband in Islamic law. Supreme Court precedents means prior rulings by the highest court that guide lower courts. Union counsel is a local administrative body in Pakistan. This sentence means that legal procedure requires that a divorce declaration be formally communicated to both the wife and the local governing body. This seems justified as it would be absurd to think that someone can be divorced without their knowledge. Absurd means ridiculous or illogical. This sentence means that notifying the wife is necessary to prevent arbitrary divorce. Pakistan is probably one of the easiest countries for a Muslim man to divorce his wife. This sentence means that the legal framework in Pakistan heavily favors men in divorce proceedings. There are hardly any formalities and no obligations. Formalities means required legal procedures. Obligations means duties or responsibilities. This sentence means that the divorce process in Pakistan is extremely simple and lacks safeguards for women. While other Muslim countries such as Jordan, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, Syria, Libya, and Tunisia have developed laws to provide spousal maintenance, there is no concept of matrimonial property or spousal maintenance in Pakistan. Spousal maintenance means financial support for a former spouse after divorce. Matrimonial property means assets shared by a married couple. This sentence means that unlike many peer nations, Pakistan lacks legal provisions to protect women's economic rights in marriage. But even that is not enough for some judges who believe the balance of power should be tilted further to the wife's detriment. Tilted is an idiomatic expression meaning shifted or biased. Detriment means disadvantage or harm. This sentence means that some judges go beyond existing law by intentionally disadvantaging women in divorce cases. There are several recent reported judgments of the high courts which have decided that a man has an unfettered and absolute right to pronounce talaq upon his wife, and no other formality is required. Reported judgments means officially documented court decisions. High courts means provincial courts below the Supreme Court. Unfettered means unrestrained or absolute. This sentence means that some high court rulings assert that a husband can divorce his wife simply by pronouncing talaq 3 times, without further legal procedures. All that is required is for him to have uttered a talaq thrice, and the divorce becomes effective. Uttered means spoken aloud. This sentence means that a triple talaq automatically results in divorce, according to these judgments. It reminds one of a publicized case in India where a husband uttered talaq thrice in his sleep, and local Islamic leaders held that this was effective. Publicized means widely known or reported. This sentence means that a similar incident in India highlights the extreme and sometimes arbitrary application of the law. Unsurprisingly, these talaq cases usually emerge once the husband has died and there is a dispute on inheritance. Inheritance means property or assets passed down after death. This sentence means that such divorce cases typically arise posthumously, complicating inheritance issues. Families urge judges that they have heard the husband pronouncing talaq before his death, and thus the wife should not be entitled to her paltry share. Urge means to strongly persuade. Paltry share is a phrase meaning an insignificant or meager portion. This sentence means that families use the husband's final words to justify denying the wife her rightful inheritance. Decisions such as these are not just a vicious miscarriage of justice, but render great disservice to litigants who approach a formal justice system often against their better judgment. Miscarriage of justice means a failure to deliver fair outcomes. Litigants means people involved in lawsuits. Against their better judgment is an idiomatic expression meaning despite their instincts. This sentence means that such rulings not only are unjust, but also undermine confidence in the judicial system. In one reported judgment, a wife did not know she was divorced. This sentence means that a judge ruled divorce effective without notifying the wife, leaving her unaware of her legal status. After her husband's death, the judge was told that someone had heard him utter talaq. This sentence means that the divorce was declared based on hearsay after the husband's death. The judge decided there is no need for a man to even notify his wife of the divorce. This sentence means that the judge ruled that notification is unnecessary, further disadvantaging the wife. She was denied her paltry share. This sentence means that as a result, the wife received only a meager portion of the inheritance. Cases of couples living abroad now throng judicial precedents because husbands living abroad realize that Pakistan is the cheapest and easiest place to discard their wives. Throng is a verb meaning to appear in large numbers. Judicial precedents means prior court rulings that influence future cases. Discard means to abandon or get rid of. This sentence means that many expatriate husbands use Pakistan's lenient divorce laws to annul their marriages cheaply. The Muslim Family Law Ordinance states that it applies to Muslim citizens of Pakistan wherever they may be. Muslim Family Law Ordinance is a Pakistani law governing Muslim family matters. This sentence means that Pakistani divorce laws extends to citizens living abroad. The utility of this law was realized in the early 1990s, where husbands pronounced talaqs on their wives while on holiday in Pakistan. Utility means usefulness or practical value. This sentence means that the law's reach was exploited in the past by husbands using brief visits to initiate divorce. To avoid injustice, courts initially made a distinction in cases where couples had dual nationality. Dual nationality means citizenship in two countries. This sentence means that courts tried to protect women in dual nationality cases by treating them differently. Since then, judges have decided each case de novo. De novo is a Latin term meaning starting from the beginning, and this sentence means that judges now reevaluate each divorce case entirely without relying on past decisions. In some cases, courts allow holiday talaqs, which effectively meant that the wife is denied more favorable legal recourse in the country of her habitual residence. Holiday talaqs means divorces pronounced during brief visits to Pakistan. Legal recourse means the ability to seek justice through courts. Habitual residence means the country where someone usually lives. This sentence means that divorces initiated during holidays disadvantage the wife by limiting her legal options. In other decisions, it was held that the husband is able to provide notice of talaq to the Pakistani consulate abroad that should act as a union counsel in holding reconciliation proceedings, something which they are not trained or have the capacity to do. Consulate means a diplomatic office abroad. Reconciliation proceedings means efforts to resolve disputes and restore relationships. This sentence means that some courts have ruled that a husband's notification to a consulate can substitute for formal divorce procedures, despite logistical challenges. The same erratic jurisprudence can be seen in cases of children's custody. Erratic means inconsistent or unpredictable. Jurisprudence means the body of legal decisions or principles. Custody means legal guardianship of a child. This sentence means that inconsistency in judicial decisions also affects child custody matters. Even where Supreme Court judgments are clear that the welfare of a child is the paramount consideration, some judges justify their decisions on their own interpretation of religious norms that may not prioritize welfare. Judgments means court decisions. Welfare means the well-being or best interests of a child. Paramount consideration means the top priority. Religious norms means traditional beliefs based on religion. This sentence means that despite clear rulings prioritizing child welfare, some judges still decide based on personal religious interpretations. For example, children may be placed with the non-resident parent even if it is clearly not in their welfare. Non-resident parent means a parent living apart from the child. This sentence means that, in practice, some custody decisions harm the child's best interests. The uncertainty has fed through to litigants, and it is now common practice that when a mother files for child maintenance, she is faced with a countersuit for custody, a pressure tactic which always works in the interest of the stronger party, who can continue to litigate. Fed through is an idiomatic expression meaning spread or influenced. Pressure tactic means a strategy to intimidate or coerce. Litigate means to engage in a lawsuit. This sentence means that inconsistent rulings create a cycle of litigation that favors the more powerful party. In child abduction cases, Supreme Court precedents are clear that children should be returned to their country of habitual residence, but some judges ignore settled jurisprudence to favor a particular litigant. Child abduction cases means instances where a parent takes a child across borders without consent. Settled jurisprudence means established legal principles. This sentence means that despite established legal standards, some judges deviate from precedent in child abduction cases. In one such case, the Supreme Court criticized the decision of the Lahore High Court, stating that the court had shied away from its illegal and constitutional obligation for reasons best known to it. Shied away is a phrasal verb meaning avoided or hesitated to confront. Legal and constitutional obligation means duties under law and the Constitution. Reasons best known to it is an idiomatic expression implying hidden or unclear motives. This sentence means that the Supreme Court condemned the lower court for evading its legal responsibilities. There is no doubt that legislation needs to evolve and that judicial training and oversight are always beneficial. However, these decisions do not reflect a lack of knowledge, but the intentional misuse of a power that is unaccountable. Legislation means laws enacted by a government. Oversight means supervision or monitoring. Unaccountable means not answerable for actions. This sentence means that the problem lies not in ignorance, but in the deliberate abuse of judicial power. As a starting point, what is pressing are substantive guiding principles from the Supreme Court in ordinary cases. Substantive means significant or meaningful. Guiding principles means clear rules to direct decisions. This sentence means that clear judicial guidelines for routine cases are urgently needed. While there is a lot of media frenzy and judicial time spent on cases that involve political parties and personalities, there is scant and conflicting jurisprudence in areas which impact ordinary litigants. Media frenzy means excessive media attention. Scant means limited or insufficient. This sentence means that despite extensive coverage of high-profile cases, common legal issues remain unresolved due to inconsistent rulings. Better guidelines will go a long way to stem the chaos of multiple litigation and identify those decision-makers who make contrary decisions for reasons best known to themselves. Go a long way is an idiomatic expression meaning be very effective. Stem means to stop or reduce. This sentence means that establishing clear judicial standards would reduce litigation chaos and hold errant judges accountable. The writer is a board member, AGHS Legal Aid Cell, an advocate of the High Courts, Pakistan, and a solicitor of the Senior Courts of England and Wales. Legal Aid